My child, stop scrolling for a moment and listen carefully to me, because what is happening in your life right now is not random. You have been sensing a shift deep inside your spirit, and the reason you cannot ignore this feeling anymore is because everything around you is about to change. I did not bring you here by accident. I brought you here because your heart has been carrying fear, exhaustion, confusion, and silent battles that nobody fully sees. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because there are things you need to hear before the next season of your life begins unfolding. Do not walk away halfway through what could become the turning point your soul has been crying out for. What you hear next may explain everything your heart has been struggling to understand. My child, before everything around you begins to change, I need you to become still for a moment and truly listen to me. You have been moving through life carrying so much inside you that your soul has barely had room to breathe. Even during quiet moments, your thoughts keep racing. You try to prepare for every possible outcome because part of you has become afraid of being caught off guard by disappointment again. I have watched you carry worries you never speak aloud. I have seen how often you smile while feeling emotionally exhausted underneath it all. And yet, despite everything pulling at your attention today, you stopped here. You paused long enough to hear these words. That was not random. You have asked me for guidance more times than you realize. Sometimes it came through whispered prayers late at night. Sometimes through silent thoughts during moments when you felt completely alone. You wanted reassurance that I still saw you clearly, especially during the days when life felt heavy and uncertain. There were moments when you questioned whether your future would ever feel peaceful again. You kept functioning, kept helping others, kept trying to hold yourself together, but deep inside, your heart has been tired for a very long time. I know that weariness better than anyone else does. Lately, something inside you has started changing quietly. Certain things no longer satisfy you the way they once did. Distractions are not working like they used to. You have tried to silence the deeper questions rising inside your spirit, but they keep returning because your heart is longing for something real. You were not created just to survive each day while feeling disconnected from yourself. I placed a deeper purpose inside you, and part of what you are feeling right now is your soul waking up again after spending too long carrying pressure without peace. I know change makes you nervous because life has hurt you before. There were times when you trusted people and ended up wounded. Times when you hoped for things that never happened the way you expected. Those disappointments taught you to guard your heart carefully. You became cautious about hope because you did not want to feel let down again. But I do not want fear controlling your future anymore. I am slowing you down now because the next part of your life cannot be entered with the same emotional exhaustion you have been carrying. This moment matters more than you realize. I am reminding you that you are not forgotten, abandoned, or drifting through life unnoticed. I have been with you through every confusing season, even when you thought I was silent. And before the changes ahead begin unfolding, I need you to remember something clearly. You are not walking into the future alone. I am already there waiting for you. I need you to stop pretending that you are not tired. You have carried things in silence for so long that even you have started minimizing the weight pressing against your heart. You tell yourself to keep moving, to stay strong, to get through one more day without letting anyone notice how exhausted you really feel. But I see beyond the version of you that other people know. I see the moments when your smile fades the second you are alone. I see how your thoughts keep circling late at night when the world finally grows quiet. You have been trying to carry tomorrow before tomorrow even arrives, and your spirit was never designed to live under that kind of pressure. There were seasons when you believed if you just worked harder, worried less, or stayed stronger for everyone else, eventually peace would return to your life. But instead, You became emotionally drained while trying to hold everything together. You gave your energy to people who rarely noticed how much you were sacrificing. You kept showing up even while parts of your heart were quietly breaking underneath the surface. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking whether anyone was caring for you the way you cared for everyone else. Listen to me carefully now. You do not have to keep living this way. Release the pressure you keep placing upon yourself. Breathe for a moment and let your heart rest inside my presence. I never asked you to carry every burden alone. I never expected you to solve every problem before bringing your fears to me. Yet you keep standing at the edge of exhaustion, trying to act as though you are still fine. Come closer to me instead. Bring me the thoughts you hide from everyone else. Bring me the fear, the frustration, the disappointment you keep swallowing in silence. Stop guarding your pain like it is your responsibility to survive everything alone. You have become so accustomed to surviving that peace almost feels unfamiliar now. That is why you struggle to slow down. That is why your mind keeps searching for danger even during calm moments. Pain taught you to stay alert. Disappointment taught you to protect yourself emotionally before life could wound you again. But I am asking you now to loosen your grip on that fear. Let me teach your heart how to feel safe again. Let me show you that your future is not being built upon constant anxiety. Do not ignore what your soul has been trying to tell you lately. You are weary because you have been carrying emotional weight that belongs in my hands, not yours. Stop trying to rescue yourself through endless striving. Sit with me here for a while. Allow my peace to reach the places inside you that nobody else sees. Your healing will not begin through pretending you are unbreakable. It will begin the moment you finally admit that you need me again. I know you feel something shifting around you, and part of you is afraid because life has taught you that change often arrives carrying pain with it. You have experienced endings that left you confused. You have watched plans collapse after you trusted they would finally work out. Because of that, your heart became cautious whenever life starts moving in a new direction. Even now, you keep wondering whether the uncertainty ahead will lead to more disappointment. But I need you to hear me clearly before fear convinces you to pull away from what I am doing in your life. Not every closed door is rejection. Not every loss means I have stepped away from you. Some things are leaving your life because they cannot continue where I am leading you next. You keep asking me for growth while trying to hold tightly to people, habits, and environments that keep exhausting your spirit. I see how difficult it is for you to release what feels familiar, even when familiarity no longer brings peace. But comfort and purpose are not always the same thing. There are moments when I must pull you away from what feels safe so your soul can finally become free. You have spent too much time believing that losing something automatically means you failed. That is not true. Some endings are protection. Some delays are mercy. Some interruptions are my way of preventing you from building your future inside places that would eventually destroy your peace. Trust me enough to believe that I can see what you cannot. I know the conversations that would have broken your spirit later. I know the paths that looked beautiful at first but carried hidden pain further ahead. While you were grieving certain losses, I was quietly protecting parts of your future you could not yet understand. Do not run from this season simply because it feels unfamiliar. Stay close to me while things shift around you. Invite me into the uncertainty instead of trying to control every outcome yourself. You keep exhausting your mind searching for guarantees before taking your next step. But your healing will begin when you learn how to walk forward without demanding complete certainty first. I am already ahead of you. I am already preparing places your heart will finally breathe easier again. So stop interpreting every change as abandonment. Stop assuming difficulty means I disappeared. I have never left you alone in any season of your life. including this one. Even now, while you feel unsure about what comes next, I am guiding you more closely than you realize. Let your heart loosen its grip on fear. Open your hands. Trust me with the future you cannot yet see. There have been many moments when you quietly convinced yourself that I had stopped listening to you. You prayed for direction, waited for movement, searched for signs that something in your life was changing, and after enough silence, your heart became discouraged. I saw the disappointment growing inside you every time another day passed without the answer you hoped would arrive. You kept asking yourself whether I had forgotten your prayers somewhere along the way. But come closer now and let me speak honestly to your heart. My silence was never abandonment. You were never standing alone while heaven looked away from you. You measure time through calendars, deadlines, and expectations. You look at your life and wonder why certain doors have stayed closed for so long while other people seem to move ahead without struggle. That comparison has exhausted your spirit more than you realize. You began believing delay meant rejection. You started treating waiting as proof that something must be wrong with you. But I need you to stop interpreting unfinished seasons as empty ones. Some things take longer because your future requires stronger foundations than you can currently see. I have been protecting you from rushing into places your heart was not yet prepared to carry. There were opportunities you begged me for that would have drained the life from you if they had arrived too early. There were relationships you thought you needed that would have slowly wounded your spirit. I know you do not fully understand that yet because pain often makes immediate answers feel more comforting than patient growth. But look at how much has already changed inside you during the waiting. You are not the same person you were 1 year ago. Your heart sees differently now. Your discernment has deepened. Certain things no longer impress you because your soul has matured through experiences you never would have chosen willingly. So stop standing at the edge of your future believing nothing is happening. Lift your eyes beyond what you can currently measure. Invite me into the waiting instead of fighting against it every day. Let your heart rest long enough to trust that I am still moving even when your circumstances appear quiet. You do not need to force every answer into existence through fear and striving. Sit with me here for a moment and release the pressure to control timing that was never yours to carry. I know waiting can feel heavy when your heart is tired. I know uncertainty can make you question whether anything meaningful is changing. But do not mistake hidden growth for absence. Seeds grow underground long before they break through the surface. Your life is moving forward in ways you cannot fully see yet. Stay near me during this season instead of surrendering to discouragement. What feels delayed to you is still unfolding within my hands. My child, do not overlook what is happening even now through this message. While many believe silence means nothing is moving, I am using these very words to reach hearts that were preparing to give up completely. Every seed sown into this mission becomes light in someone else's darkness, oil for weary souls, and bread for those starving spiritually. Did I not say, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again? I am calling some of you right now to stop watching quietly and become part of the harvest I am unfolding before your eyes. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal giving, you help carry my voice farther than you can currently see, and the PayPal link has already been placed in the video description for those I am stirring deeply today. The hands that sow into living water will not remain empty, for I am able to multiply what is released with faith and obedience. Do not delay the prompting I am placing inside your spirit. Act now, sow now, and help my word reach the hearts waiting for hope before everything changes. You keep telling yourself that what you need most is clarity about the future, but beneath all your questions, your soul is asking for something deeper. You are tired in places sleep cannot fully heal. Your body rests, yet your thoughts continue running. Even during quiet moments, your mind keeps replaying conversations, worrying about outcomes, preparing for problems before they happen. You have lived under tension for so long that peace now feels unfamiliar to you. That is why you struggle to slow down without guilt. Part of you believes you must stay mentally prepared every second or life will catch you unguarded again. Come sit with me for a moment and stop trying to solve your entire future tonight. You were never created to carry every fear at once. You were never meant to survive by holding your breath emotionally through every season of your life. Yet that is what you have been doing. You keep searching for one perfect answer that will finally calm your heart. But your exhaustion does not come from lack of information. It comes from carrying too much emotional weight for too long without allowing yourself true rest. I have watched you reach for distractions because silence became uncomfortable. You filled empty moments with noise, endless thinking, endless scrolling, endless worrying, because slowing down meant facing the ache inside your heart directly. But listen carefully now. You do not need another distraction. You need peace. Real peace. The kind that softens your breathing instead of tightening your chest. The kind that allows your spirit to stop expecting disaster around every corner. Let me lead you into that kind of rest. Stop resisting stillness as though it is something dangerous. You have spent years believing strength meant enduring everything quietly. You pushed yourself through disappointment, heartbreak, pressure, and loneliness while convincing yourself you just needed to hold on a little longer. But strength without rest eventually becomes emptiness. That is why your heart feels so worn lately. You have been surviving instead of living. You have been carrying fear in one hand and responsibility in the other, while your soul quietly begged for room to breathe. So release your grip for a moment. Stop rehearsing every worst-case scenario in your mind. Bring your anxious thoughts to me instead of carrying them alone through another sleepless night. Let your heart become honest about how overwhelmed it truly feels. I am not disappointed by your exhaustion. I am inviting you out of it. Stay close to me now. Breathe slowly. Allow my presence to quiet the noise inside you little by little. Your healing will begin when you finally understand that rest is not weakness. Rest is where I meet you most gently. My child, I know how often you compare your life to the lives of other people. You look around and see someone else moving faster, achieving more, building the kind of future you thought you would already have by now. Then quietly, without telling anyone, you begin questioning yourself. You wonder whether you wasted too much time, made too many mistakes, or somehow missed the right season for your life to unfold. Those thoughts have been sitting heavily on your heart lately, and I need you to stop believing the lie that your worth is measured by someone else's timeline. Come closer and listen carefully to me now. You are not late. Your life is not ruined because your journey unfolded differently than you expected. I never asked you to race through your story trying to keep pace with people whose paths were never designed for you in the first place. Yet you keep pressuring yourself to arrive somewhere faster because you are afraid of being left behind. That fear has drained so much joy out of moments that were meant to shape you gently. Instead of noticing how far you have come, you keep staring at what has not happened yet. I have watched you carry quiet embarrassment over things nobody else is even condemning you for. You replay old decisions in your mind and wonder whether one wrong turn permanently delayed your future. But your life is not that fragile, my child. One difficult season cannot cancel what I still intend to do through you. One mistake does not erase your purpose. You think your story looks messy right now because you are viewing it from the middle instead of the ending. Trust me enough to believe that unfinished chapters are not final conclusions. Stop rushing yourself emotionally. Stop speaking to yourself with constant disappointment every time life unfolds differently than expected. You have grown in ways you rarely acknowledge. The wisdom inside you now did not exist years ago. The compassion inside your heart deepened because of what you survived. The strength you carry today was formed during seasons that almost broke you. None of that growth was wasted. Even your waiting hath been shaping you. So release the pressure to become everything overnight. Breathe deeply and let yourself exist without constantly measuring your value against visible progress. I am not disappointed in your pace. I am still guiding you, still building within you, still preparing doors you cannot yet see. Let your heart rest inside that truth for a while. Stop calling yourself behind when I am still writing your story carefully, line by line, moment by moment. Your future has not passed you by. It is still unfolding in my hands. My child, there is something inside your heart that has quietly exhausted you for years, and I need you to finally become honest about it. You have spent so much of your life trying to prove your worth to people. You gave more, worked harder, stayed available longer, and carried emotional weight that was never yours because part of you believed love had to be earned. You thought if you could become enough for everyone else, maybe you would finally feel secure, valued, and safe from rejection. But trying to earn love will drain the life from your spirit because your heart was never designed to survive on constant performance. I saw how often you ignored your own emotional needs just to keep peace around you. I watched you remain loyal to people who rarely protected your heart with the same care you gave theirs. You kept showing up, hoping your effort would eventually make you feel fully chosen. Yet deep down, you still carried fear that if you stopped giving so much, people might stop staying. That fear shaped more of your decisions than you realize. It made you overextend yourself emotionally. It made you tolerate treatment that quietly wounded your spirit. It made you feel guilty anytime you tried protecting your own peace. Listen to me now, and let this truth settle deeply inside you. You do not have to earn my love. You never did. I love you long before you learned how to impress anyone. I love you before success, before failure, before all the moments that made you question your value. Stop exhausting yourself trying to become worthy of a love that was already freely given to you. Come sit with me without pretending. Bring me the insecure parts of your heart. Bring me the fear of rejection you keep hiding beneath your strength. I am not asking you to perform for me. I am asking you to trust me enough to be fully honest. You have carried emotional wounds from people who only appreciated you when you were useful to them. The pain made you believe your value depended on what you could provide. But you are more than your usefulness. You are more than your productivity. You are more than how well you carry everyone else's burdens while neglecting your own heart. Stop abandoning yourself just to keep others comfortable around you. I want you to learn what healthy love feels like. I want you to understand that real love does not constantly leave you anxious about losing your place in someone's life. Release the pressure to prove yourself every moment. Let your heart rest. Allow me to teach you that your existence alone carries value, even on the days when you feel weak, uncertain, or emotionally worn down. My child, there were moments when you came far closer to giving up than anyone around you ever realized. You kept moving through your days, answering messages, handling responsibilities, speaking calmly to people, while inside your heart felt worn thin from carrying too much pain for too long. I saw the nights when you sat quietly with thoughts you could not explain to anyone because you feared they would not understand the depth of your exhaustion. I saw how heavy life became for you during moments when even getting through an ordinary day felt like climbing a mountain with no strength left in your spirit. You have blamed yourself for struggling emotionally, but listen to me carefully now. You were carrying wounds that never had proper time to heal. Disappointment piled upon disappointment until your heart started expecting sadness before joy could even arrive. You became skilled at hiding your pain because somewhere along the way, You learn that people grow uncomfortable around honesty when it reveals too much vulnerability. So you kept saying you were fine while quietly wondering how much longer you could continue surviving like this. Come closer to me now and stop hiding your weariness. Bring me the thoughts you are ashamed to admit. Bring me the frustration, the anger, the confusion you bury beneath your silence. I am not afraid of your honesty. I would rather sit with the real condition of your heart than watch you exhaust yourself pretending you are unaffected by everything you have endured. You do not need polished words with me. You do not need to appear strong every second. Sit down for a moment and allow yourself to breathe without carrying the pressure of holding everything together alone. There were days when you believed nobody noticed your quiet suffering. Yet I noticed every detail. I saw you wipe tears away before entering rooms full of people. I saw you stare at ceilings late at night searching for peace that felt impossible to reach. I stayed beside you through every anxious thought and every silent breakdown you hid from the world. Even during moments when your faith became weak and uncertain, I never stepped away from you. Not once. So stop telling yourself your survival means nothing. You made it through seasons that nearly crushed your spirit completely. That matters. Your continued presence here matters. I know you still carry questions about why life unfolded the way it did, but do not overlook the strength quietly forming inside you through every painful season. Let your heart soften enough to receive comfort now instead of constantly preparing for more pain. Stay near me. Let me hold the parts of you that feel too tired to keep fighting alone. You are not abandoned inside this struggle, my child. You never were. My child, the pain you survived was never meant to end with you alone. I am turning your endurance into a river that will strengthen countless other weary hearts who secretly feel one step away from surrender. Every act of giving into this mission becomes fire in dark places, manna for discouraged souls, and a lifeline to people crying out for comfort in silence. Have I not spoken? The generous soul will prosper, and whoever refreshes others will themselves be refreshed. There are people I am trying to reach before despair consumes them, and I am inviting you to help carry this message to them through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal support, with a PayPal link waiting in the video description. What you release in faith today will not return void, because I watch over every seed planted for my kingdom. I will breathe favor, provision, and unexpected strength over those who refuse to let this light stop spreading. So respond to my prompting now. Give, support this mission, and help rescue hearts before the weight they carry destroys their hope completely. My child, your body continued moving through life, but your spirit has been trapped in survival mode for longer than you realize. You wake up already carrying tension before the day even begins. Your thoughts immediately start scanning for problems, preparing for disappointment, expecting something else to go wrong. Even during peaceful moments, part of your heart stays guarded because pain taught you not to relax completely. You became so accustomed to emotional pressure that calmness now feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious, as though peace can disappear at any moment without warning. I know why you became this way. Life hurt you in places nobody else fully understands. Certain betrayals changed how safely you viewed the world. Certain losses taught your heart to prepare for grief before allowing yourself to feel joy too deeply. Over time, you stopped living freely and started living cautiously. You learned how to protect yourself emotionally before anyone could wound you again. But my child, constantly surviving is not the same thing as truly living. I did not create your heart just to endure fear quietly while pretending everything is under control. Come sit with me and pay attention to what your soul has been trying to say lately. You are exhausted because your mind rarely rests. Even when your surroundings grow quiet, your thoughts continue running in circles. You replay conversations, anticipate rejection, prepare responses to problems that have not even happened yet. That constant inner pressure has slowly drained joy out of places where peace once existed naturally. I want to free you from that burden, but you must stop treating anxiety like a permanent home for your heart. Release your grip on the need to control every possible outcome. Stop carrying tomorrow's worries before tomorrow arrives. Breathe slowly and allow yourself to exist without expecting disaster around every corner. I know vulnerability feels dangerous after everything you experienced, but fear is no longer meant to govern your future. Invite me into the spaces where your mind races the most. Bring me your restless thoughts instead of battling them alone through another sleepless night. You have survived many painful seasons already. You do not need to keep proving your strength by remaining emotionally exhausted all the time. Let your heart experience safety again. Let yourself laugh without guilt. Let yourself rest without believing something terrible will happen if you stop worrying for a moment. I am still watching over you even when you cannot see what comes next. Trust me enough to loosen the emotional armor you have worn for so long. Your healing will require more than endurance. It will require trust. And little by little, I will teach your spirit how to live beyond survival mode and step back into peace again. My child, I know how painful waiting has been for you. There were seasons when you prayed with sincerity, trusted with hope, and expected movement in your life, yet nothing seemed to change the way you thought it would. Over time, disappointment began whispering dangerous things into your heart. You started wondering whether your prayers mattered at all. You questioned whether I still remembered the promises you carried so carefully inside your spirit. I watched those thoughts slowly wear down your confidence while you tried to remain patient on the outside. Come closer to me now and stop measuring your worth by how quickly answers arrive. Waiting was never proof that I abandoned you. While you believed nothing meaningful was happening, I was still working beneath the surface of your life in ways your eyes could not yet recognize. I know you became frustrated watching other people receive things you had prayed for yourself. You tried staying grateful, but privately your heart kept asking why your own season felt delayed. Those emotions do not scare me, my child. Bring them honestly into my presence instead of carrying them alone in silence. You often think transformation only counts when circumstances visibly change, but some of the deepest work I have done inside you happened during the very seasons you wanted to escape. Your heart became wiser through disappointment. Your discernment sharpened through heartbreak. Certain desires faded because your spirit outgrew things that once would have distracted you from your true purpose. None of that growth was wasted. Even now, there are prayers you thanked me for not answering later because you finally understood what I protected you from. Do not rush out of this season simply because it feels uncomfortable. Sit with me inside the waiting instead of treating it like punishment. Let your heart become steady enough to trust me before outcomes become visible. I know uncertainty makes you restless. I know your mind keeps searching for signs that something is finally moving forward. But listen carefully now. Seeds grow quietly before they break through the ground. Much of what I prepare happens invisibly long before your life changes outwardly. So release the fear that your future has stalled permanently. Stop speaking hopelessness over seasons that are still unfolding. Invite me into your impatience instead of allowing discouragement to harden your heart. Your waiting has not been empty. I have been shaping you, protecting you, and guiding you even during moments when heaven seems silent. Stay close to me now. Do not walk away just because the process feels slower than expected. Your story is still moving forward, and I have not forgotten a single prayer you placed in my hands. My child, something inside you has been changing quietly, even if you do not fully recognize it yet. The person you are becoming now does not think the same way you once did. Certain things that used to hold your attention no longer satisfy your spirit the way they once could. Some conversations leave you emotionally drained because your heart is no longer comfortable living surrounded by constant negativity and shallow distractions. You have tried explaining this feeling to yourself, but part of you still feels confused by the distance growing between who you were and who you are becoming. Do not resist this transformation simply because it feels unfamiliar. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it becomes beautiful. You are shedding emotional patterns that kept your spirit trapped for years. I know there are moments when you miss the simplicity of your old life, even if that version of you was carrying hidden pain. Change can feel lonely because not everyone will understand the direction your heart is moving. Some people only knew the version of you that stayed quiet, overextended yourself, and ignored your own needs to keep others comfortable. But you cannot continue abandoning your peace just to remain familiar to everyone around you. Come sit with me for a moment and pay attention to what your soul has been craving lately. You want honesty now. You want peace that feels genuine instead of temporary. You want relationships where your heart can breathe safely instead of constantly feeling responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. That desire did not appear accidentally. I placed it there because you are outgrowing environments that no longer align with the life I am preparing for you. You may notice yourself becoming more protective of your energy. Certain habits no longer feel right. Some places feel heavier than they used to. Do not ignore those shifts. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is still learning to accept. I am teaching you discernment through these changes. Stop forcing yourself to remain connected to things that continuously drain your soul. Let your heart become honest about what no longer brings peace into your life. I know transformation can feel uncertain because you are leaving behind emotional patterns that once felt familiar. But trust me enough to keep moving forward. Do not shrink yourself back down simply because growth makes other people uncomfortable. Invite me into this new season instead of fearing it. I am not removing parts of you to leave you empty. I am clearing away what no longer belongs so your true self can finally breathe again. The version of you emerging now carries deeper wisdom, stronger boundaries, and a quieter kind of strength. Stay close to me while this transformation unfolds. You are becoming someone who no longer survives life through fear alone. My child, one of the heaviest burdens you keep placing upon yourself is the belief that you must understand everything before you can move forward. You sit with decisions for too long because you are afraid of making the wrong choice. You replay possibilities endlessly in your mind, hoping certainty will appear before you take your next step. I see how exhausting that has become for you. Your thoughts race in circles searching for guarantees that life was never designed to give. And while you are trying to predict every outcome, your heart is quietly growing more anxious beneath the pressure of needing complete control. Come sit with me and loosen your grip on that fear. You were never meant to carry your future entirely through your own understanding. Yet you keep acting as though every unanswered question is your responsibility to solve immediately. That pressure has stolen peace from moments that were supposed to teach you trust. You hesitate because disappointment from the past convinced you that one wrong decision could ruin everything. But your life is not balanced on one fragile moment waiting to collapse forever. I am still guiding you even when you cannot fully see the road ahead. There were times when you thought you understood exactly what needed to happen next, and later you realized how incomplete your perspective truly was. You could only see the surface while I could already see what certain choices would eventually cost your spirit. That is why I need you to stop demanding absolute clarity before you allow yourself to move. Faith often begins while questions still exist. Trust grows while uncertainty remains present. Invite me into your confusion instead of trying to silence it through overthinking. I know your heart wants reassurance. You want to know the future will not hurt you again. You want proof that the next chapter of your life will finally bring stability instead of more heartbreak. But listen carefully now. Peace does not come from controlling every detail ahead of time. Peace comes from knowing you do not walk alone through what you cannot predict. That is why I keep calling you closer to me instead of closer to certainty. Release the pressure to solve your entire life tonight. Breathe deeply and let yourself exist without carrying tomorrow before it arrives. Stop punishing yourself for not knowing exactly where every road will lead. Some answers only become visible after you begin walking forward. Stay close to me during this season and allow trust to grow slowly inside your spirit. I am already present in the future you fear. Let that truth calm the storm inside your mind little by little. My child, you do not need complete certainty to obey when I place generosity inside your heart. Some of you keep waiting for the perfect moment to support this mission, but faith was never built on perfect timing. It was built on trust. I am already moving ahead of you, preparing doors, touching lives, and drawing broken hearts toward these messages before they even realize they need them. Every offering released through super thanks, membership, or PayPal becomes a seed planted into fertile ground where souls are being awakened, restored, and pulled back from spiritual darkness. Did I not tell you, give, and it will be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The PayPal link has been placed in the video description because this is not random. It is an opportunity I prepared for those willing to partner with what heaven is doing right now. Stop overthinking the prompting I am placing inside your spirit and recognize this moment for what it is, a divine invitation connected to the very season you have been praying about. Move forward now, release your seed, and trust me to multiply what leaves your hands in obedience. My child, there are wounds inside you that formed so gradually you barely noticed how deeply they shaped your heart. Pain did not always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it settled quietly into your spirit through years of disappointment, rejection, loneliness, and emotional exhaustion. You adapted to those feelings without realizing how much they changed the way you see yourself and the world around you. You learned to expect hurt before comfort. You became cautious with hope. You stopped speaking honestly about your struggles because part of you believed nobody would fully understand anyway. But I understand completely. I see the places inside you that still ache when certain memories return unexpectedly. I see how quickly your heart prepares for rejection even during good moments. I know there are experiences you rarely discuss because speaking about them still feels too heavy. Come bring those hidden wounds to me now instead of carrying them alone another day. Stop pretending they no longer affect you simply because time has passed. Unhealed pain does not disappear through avoidance. It waits quietly beneath the surface until your soul becomes exhausted from carrying it. I have already started healing parts of you that you cannot fully explain yet. That is why some things feel different lately. Your reactions are changing slowly. Certain words no longer wound you as deeply as before. You are beginning to notice emotional patterns that once controlled you without question. This healing may not feel dramatic every day, but do not underestimate gentle transformation. Sometimes healing enters your life quietly, like morning light slowly filling a dark room after a long night. Sit with me for a while and stop rushing your recovery. You keep becoming frustrated with yourself whenever old emotions return, but healing is not a straight line. Some days your heart will feel strong. Other days certain memories may still sting unexpectedly. That does not mean you are failing. It means your soul is learning how to live beyond survival. Be patient with yourself while this process unfolds. I know there are moments when you still feel broken because scars remain visible inside your heart. But scars are not proof that healing failed. They are evidence that you survived what once threatened to destroy you. Stop speaking to yourself as though you are beyond restoration. Invite me into the deepest places of your pain instead of hiding them behind strength. I am not intimidated by the parts of you that still need healing. Stay close to me now. Your heart is becoming softer, lighter, and freer than it has been in a very long time. My child, there are relationships in your life that have been exhausting your spirit for far too long, and deep inside, you already know it. You kept trying to preserve certain connections because you feared what separation might mean. You told yourself to stay patient, stay understanding, stay available, even while your heart quietly became heavier every time you walked away from those conversations. I watched you ignore your own emotional pain because part of you believed protecting other people's comfort mattered more than protecting your peace. But listen carefully now. You are allowed to outgrow relationships that continually drain the life from your spirit. This does not mean you stopped loving people. It does not mean you became cold or selfish. Sometimes growth changes what your heart can peacefully remain connected to. There are environments that once felt familiar but now leave you emotionally exhausted because your spirit is no longer meant to survive there. You have spent too much time forcing yourself to stay in places where you constantly feel unseen, unheard, or emotionally unsafe. Stop calling that loyalty when your soul is quietly suffocating underneath it. Come sit with me and become honest about how certain people affect your heart. Notice how your body tightens before some conversations even begin. Notice how drained you feel after constantly carrying emotional weight that was never yours to manage. I know you fear disappointing others. I know you worry about being misunderstood if you create distance. But I never asked you to sacrifice your peace just to avoid uncomfortable reactions from people unwilling to respect your heart gently. Some people only felt comfortable with a version of you that ignored your own needs. They grew used to your silence, your overgiving, your constant availability. Now that your spirit is changing, they may not understand why you no longer tolerate what once wounded you quietly. That is not your failure. Growth often reveals which relationships were built on genuine love and which ones depended upon your exhaustion. Do not harden your heart with bitterness while walking through this season. Release resentment into my hands instead of carrying it everywhere you go. But also stop reopening doors that repeatedly leave your spirit bruised. Invite me into your relationships and ask me for discernment. Let me show you who brings peace into your life and who continuously steals it away. You are not abandoning people by choosing emotional health. You are learning how to love without destroying yourself in the process. Stay close to me while you navigate these changes. Some relationships may heal. Others may fade naturally. But do not fear the loneliness that sometimes comes with growth. I am leading you toward connections where your heart will no longer feel like it must survive constant emotional storms just to remain loved. My child, there are opportunities you never fully stepped into because fear quietly convinced you that failure would destroy you. You hesitated before making decisions. You delayed things your heart deeply wanted because disappointment from the past left scars inside your confidence. Somewhere along the way, you began believing mistakes were dangerous enough to define your entire future. That fear followed you into relationships, dreams, conversations, and even simple choices. It made you second-guess yourself constantly until exhaustion became part of your daily thinking. I know why you became cautious. There were moments when failure embarrassed you deeply. There were seasons when things fell apart despite your best effort, and afterward, you carried shame much longer than necessary. You replayed those painful moments repeatedly inside your mind until they started shaping how you viewed yourself. But come closer to me now and listen carefully. Your mistakes were never meant to become permanent labels attached to your identity. One painful chapter does not have authority to narrate the rest of your life. You have been standing at the edge of new beginnings while fear keeps whispering worst-case scenarios into your thoughts. It tells you that trying again is dangerous. It tells you people will judge you if things do not work out perfectly. It tells you stay small feels safer than risky disappointment another time. But fear has already stolen enough from you. Stop allowing old failures to make decisions for your future. Breathe deeply and loosen your grip on the need to avoid every possible mistake. I never asked you to live perfectly before moving forward. I asked you to trust me while learning, growing, and becoming wiser through experience. Some of your deepest wisdom came from moments that once looked like failure. You became more compassionate because of your struggles. You became more humble, more thoughtful, more aware of what truly matters. None of those lessons would exist without seasons that challenge your confidence. So stop punishing yourself for being human. Sit with me for a moment and release the shame you keep carrying from old disappointments. Invite me into the places where insecurity still controls your choices. Let me rebuild confidence inside you slowly instead of forcing yourself to appear fearless overnight. Courage does not mean you never feel afraid. Courage means you stop allowing fear to decide the direction of your life. Your future is still open before you, my child. Do not close doors yourself simply because fear convinced you that failure would be unbearable. I will walk beside you through uncertainty, mistakes, growth, and every new step ahead. Trust me enough to move forward again. My child, the way you speak about yourself in private moments has wounded your heart more deeply than you realize. You carry pain from old failures, rejection, disappointment, and emotional scars, then quietly label yourself as damaged because of what you survived. I hear the thoughts you never say aloud. I hear how quickly you blame yourself when life feels difficult. I hear how often you minimize your own worth because your heart still carries memories of moments that made you feel unwanted, unseen, or not enough. But listen carefully to me now. You are not broken beyond healing simply because life left scars behind. There is a difference between being wounded and being worthless. Yet somewhere along your journey, you began confusing the two. Pain changed the way you viewed yourself. Betrayal made you question whether you were easy to love. Disappointment made you doubt your value. You became so accustomed to carrying emotional bruises that eventually you stopped recognizing the beauty that still exists inside you. But I still see it clearly. I see kindness in you that survived despite everything trying to harden your heart. I see compassion in you that grew through suffering instead of disappearing. I see strength in places where you only notice exhaustion. Come closer to me and stop speaking over your life as though your story ended in the middle of your pain. Scars are not evidence that you failed. They are evidence that you endured what once threatened to destroy you. Stop replaying old wounds as though they are permanent definitions of who you are. Sit with me for a moment and allow your heart to breathe without carrying shame attached to every difficult memory. I am not asking you to pretend your pain never existed. I am asking you to stop building your identity around it. You became skilled at hiding your struggles because you feared people would only see weakness if you became fully honest. But I never turned away from the fragile parts of you. I stayed beside you during every season where you felt emotionally undone. I watched you survive days that looked impossible from where you stood. That survival matters more than you realize. So stop introducing yourself to the future through the language of defeat. Stop treating yourself like someone permanently ruined by life. Invite me into the places where self-hatred still speaks loudly inside your thoughts. Let me teach you how to see yourself through eyes shaped by grace instead of shame. Your healing will deepen when you finally stop calling yourself broken and start recognizing yourself as someone still becoming whole. Stay close to me now. There is more beauty growing inside your life than your pain has allowed you to notice. My child, the enemy tried to convince you your pain disqualified you, but I am about to use the very places that once hurt you to bring healing to others. These messages are reaching wounded hearts across the world, people who secretly believe they are too broken to continue, and I am calling my children to help keep this river flowing. Every gift released into this mission becomes healing oil poured over unseen wounds, fire against hopelessness, and light breaking through someone's darkest night. Have I not declared, a bruised reed I will not break, and a smoldering wick I will not snuff out? When you support through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, with a PayPal link waiting in the video description, you become part of lifting souls that are hanging between despair and restoration. I see every sacrifice made for my kingdom, and I will breathe increase, protection, and peace over those who sow faithfully into what is restoring lives. This is not small in my eyes, and neither is your obedience. So stop hesitating, step into this assignment with me, and give now so more wounded hearts can hear my voice before everything changes. My child, I know why you started pulling away from people. Life hurt you enough times that being emotionally guarded began feeling safer than being vulnerable again. You learned how to stay present physically while keeping parts of your heart hidden from everyone around you. On the outside, it looked like independence, but underneath it, loneliness slowly became heavier than you expected. You told yourself distance would protect you from disappointment, yet silence has its own kind of ache when carried too long. There is a difference between healthy solitude and painful isolation. Solitude can heal your spirit when it brings you closer to peace, reflection, and my presence. Isolation slowly drains your heart when fear becomes the reason you keep everyone away. I have watched you convince yourself that needing nobody would protect you from future pain. But my child, your heart was never designed to survive without connection. You were created to experience love, honesty, comfort, and safe companionship. Stop treating emotional walls like permanent protection when they are quietly becoming prisons around your spirit. Come sit with me and tell the truth about how lonely some nights have felt. Tell me about the conversations you wish you could have honestly without fear of judgment. Tell me about the exhaustion that comes from pretending you are fine while secretly wishing someone would notice your pain without needing an explanation. I already know those feelings exist inside you. I'm asking you to stop hiding them from yourself. Not everyone who hurt you deserves access to your heart again. Discernment matters. Boundaries matter. But do not let old wounds convince you that meaningful connection no longer exists. There are still people capable of loving you gently. There are still conversations that will leave your spirit feeling lighter instead of drained. There are still relationships waiting where you will not feel the need to shrink yourself just to remain accepted. I know vulnerability feels risky after everything you experienced. Opening your heart again may feel like standing at the edge of uncertainty. But healing requires more than survival. It requires trust, returning slowly to places fear once controlled completely. Invite me into your loneliness instead of burying it beneath distraction and silence. Let me guide you toward people who carry peace instead of chaos. You do not need to force connection with everyone around you. But stop convincing yourself that isolation is strength. Real strength allows honesty. Real healing allows closeness without constant fear. Stay near me while your heart learns this again. I will not rush the process, but I will not leave you trapped behind emotional walls forever either. My child, the desire growing inside your heart lately is not random. You feel restless because your spirit knows you cannot continue living the same way forever. There is a part of you quietly longing for a fresh beginning, even if you are afraid to admit how badly you need one. You have tried carrying old pain into new seasons. You have tried convincing yourself that surviving was enough. But deep inside, you know your soul wants more than survival now. You want peace that stays. You want purpose that feels real. You want mornings where your chest no longer feels heavy before the day even begins. Come closer to me and stop resisting what your heart has been asking for. You keep looking backward at old mistakes, old losses, old versions of yourself that no longer belong in your future. But I am calling you forward now. I am inviting you into a new season where your identity is no longer chained to everything that once wounded you. Let go of the belief that because pain existed in your past, it must continue defining your future. Your life is not trapped inside old chapters unless you continue living there emotionally. I know starting over feels frightening. Change often asks you to release what became familiar, even when familiar things were hurting you quietly. You fear disappointment. You fear trusting again. You fear hoping for something beautiful only to watch it collapse another time. But listen carefully now. Healing requires movement. Peace requires honesty. Growth requires surrender. You cannot hold tightly to everything that exhausted your spirit while asking me to lead you into freedom at the same time. Sit with me for a moment and breathe without carrying the pressure of your past on your shoulders. Invite me into the places where fear keeps telling you nothing will ever truly change. Let me show you that your future is still alive with possibility even after everything you survived. There are parts of your life waiting to bloom again, but first your heart must stop identifying itself through old pain. You have already changed more than you realize. Your spirit is becoming softer in healthy ways and stronger in deeper ways. Certain things no longer satisfy you because your soul is waking up to what truly matters. Do not ignore that stirring inside you. A longing for renewal is my invitation calling you closer. So stop standing at the doorway of change while fear keeps you frozen. Step forward slowly if you need to, but do not remain trapped in emotional places I have already asked you to leave behind. Your new beginning does not require perfection from you. It requires willingness. Come walk with me now. Let this next chapter begin. My child, there are moments when you still look at your past and quietly wonder whether too much damage has already been done. You remember decisions you regret, seasons where you lost yourself emotionally, moments where shame followed you long after everything ended. Even now, certain memories still make your heart tighten because part of you fears those failures permanently change how your future will unfold. I need you to stop carrying that burden. Your past may explain parts of your pain, but it does not have permission to decide your worth. You have spent too much time replaying old chapters as though they hold authority over who you are becoming. Every mistake became evidence against yourself. Every disappointment turned into another reason to doubt your future. But come closer and listen carefully to me now. I do not speak to you through condemnation. I do not keep reminding you of your lowest moments every time you try moving forward. That voice telling you that you are ruined, unwanted, or beyond restoration does not come from me. I saw every moment you regret, yet I never stopped loving you through any of it. I remained beside you while you struggled, while you questioned yourself, while you carried guilt nobody else even knew existed inside your heart. You keep punishing yourself for being human, for making decisions while wounded, afraid, confused, or emotionally exhausted. But healing cannot grow where shame continues controlling your identity. Release that shame into my hands now instead of feeding it through endless self-judgment. Sit with me and stop introducing yourself through your failures. You are more than the worst moment of your life. You are more than the seasons where you lost direction. Some of the compassion inside your heart today exists because you understand pain personally. Some of your wisdom grew directly from mistakes that once embarrassed you deeply. None of that suffering was meaningless. I know there are people who reminded you of your past repeatedly. Some used your mistakes to control how you saw yourself. Others made you feel as though you had to spend your entire life proving you changed. But I am asking you now to stop living as though redemption belongs only to other people. You deserve healing too. You deserve freedom too. Invite me into the memories that still carry shame. Let me heal the places where regret continues draining hope from your future. Your story did not end in failure, my child. I am still writing it. Stop disqualifying yourself from the life ahead because of chapters I already carried you through. Your past may remain part of your testimony, but it is not the final voice over your destiny. My child, beneath all the questions you ask about your future, your relationships, and your purpose, there is something your heart has been craving more deeply than anything else. You want peace, not temporary relief. Not distractions that numb your thoughts for a few hours. You are longing for the kind of peace that reaches the deepest parts of your spirit and allows you to finally breathe without carrying constant emotional tension inside your chest. I know how long you have searched for that feeling in people, achievements, routines, and endless attempts to control what happens next. But your soul keeps returning to the same exhaustion because peace cannot grow where fear continues leading your thoughts. You have lived in survival mode for so long that calmness almost feels unfamiliar now. When life becomes quiet, your mind immediately starts preparing for something painful to happen. You replay conversations. You anticipate disappointment before it arrives. You search for hidden problems because your heart became trained to expect hurt after everything you survive. But come closer to me now and stop carrying that burden alone. You were never meant to spend your life emotionally bracing yourself every single day. Sit with me for a moment and let your thoughts slow down. Stop trying to solve every future problem tonight. Stop exhausting yourself searching for certainty in places that cannot provide it. I know your heart fears being hurt again. I know part of you believes staying anxious somehow keeps you prepared. But anxiety has stolen enough joy from your life already. It has filled peaceful moments with unnecessary heaviness. It has convinced you to carry responsibilities that belong inside my hands, not yours. Invite me into the chaos inside your mind instead of fighting those thoughts alone in silence. Speak honestly to me about what keeps you awake at night. Tell me about the fears you hide behind your daily routine. I am not asking you to pretend everything feels fine. I am asking you to stop carrying your worries without bringing them to me first. Real peace will not come through controlling every outcome. It will come through trusting that you are not alone inside uncertainty. But trust may grow slowly, but let it begin now. Release your grip on the need to predict every possibility before life unfolds. Breathe deeply and allow your spirit to rest beside me for a while. Your healing requires more than endurance. It requires peace returning to places where fear lived too long. I am still guiding your life even when you cannot see the full picture ahead. Stay close to me. Let your heart soften enough to receive calmness again. You deserve more than constant emotional survival. You deserve peace that reaches your soul gently and stays there. My child, the peace I am speaking over your life is the same peace I desire to pour into countless others still trapped in fear, anxiety, and silent exhaustion. Right now, many souls are searching desperately for one word of hope, one moment of light, one reminder that I have not abandoned them. And I am using this mission to reach them before darkness overtakes their hearts. Every seed sown through super thanks, membership, where PayPal giving becomes like living water flowing into dry places, carrying my comfort farther than you can imagine. Did I not say, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God"? I am calling those who feel my presence right now to help sustain this work. And the PayPal link has already been placed in the video description for those ready to answer that call immediately. What you place into my hands today, I will multiply with favor, protection, provision, and peace that settles deeply over your life. This is a holy moment, not a casual decision, because heaven is moving through willing hearts right now. So obey the stirring within you. Sow your seed now, support this mission boldly, and help carry my peace to the weary before everything changes. My child, you can feel it already, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. Something inside you is changing, and the emotional patterns that once felt normal no longer fit the person you are becoming. The way you think, the things you tolerate, the kind of energy your spirit can handle now, all of it is shifting quietly beneath the surface. You have noticed yourself pulling away from constant negativity. Certain conversations leave you feeling drained faster than before. Some environments that once felt familiar now feel heavy in ways you cannot ignore anymore. Do not dismiss those feelings. Your spirit is recognizing that you are entering a different season emotionally. For a long time, you survived by adapting to unhealthy patterns. You ignored your old exhaustion. You stayed silent to avoid conflict. You accepted emotional chaos because part of you believed peace was something other people experienced, not you. But your heart cannot continue living that way forever. Deep inside, your soul has started craving honesty, stillness, healthy love, and emotional safety. That desire is not weakness. It is growth. I am teaching your spirit how to stop surviving through constant fear and begin living through deeper peace instead. Come sit with me now and stop fighting the changes happening inside you. You keep questioning yourself whenever your boundaries become stronger. You wonder whether protecting your peace makes you selfish. But my child, there is wisdom in recognizing what continuously harms your spirit. Stop reopening doors that leave your heart bruised every time you walk through them. Stop forcing yourself to stay emotionally connected to patterns that drain your joy and leave your soul exhausted. This new season may feel uncomfortable at first because growth often requires separation from things that once felt familiar. Some people may not understand your changes. They became comfortable with the version of you that ignored your own needs to keep everyone else happy. But you cannot continue abandoning yourself just to remain accepted by others. I want you to become emotionally healthy, not emotionally available to every source of chaos surrounding you. Invite me into this transition instead of fearing it. Let me guide you gently through the discomfort of becoming someone new. Your heart is learning how to choose peace over constant pressure. Your spirit is learning discernment instead of emotional survival. That process takes time, but it is leading you somewhere beautiful. So stop shrinking yourself back into old versions just because growth feels unfamiliar. Stay close to me while your life changes from the inside outward. You are not losing yourself, my child. You are finally becoming who you were always meant to be. My child, there are still moments from your past that you revisit with far more cruelty than compassion. You remember decisions you wish you could undo. You replay conversations that ended badly. You think about seasons where fear, exhaustion, loneliness, or confusion influenced choices that later filled your heart with regret. Even now, part of you quietly believes you should have known better back then. But listen carefully to me now. You are judging an older version of yourself using wisdom you only gained after surviving those painful seasons. You keep carrying guilt as though punishing yourself long enough will somehow rewrite the past. But shame cannot heal you, my child. It can only trap your spirit inside moments that I already carried you through. I know there are nights when certain memories still rise suddenly and leave your chest feeling heavy again. You wonder how your life might look now if you had acted differently. You imagine alternate paths, alternate outcomes, alternate futures. But your heart cannot heal while constantly living inside imagined versions of the past. Come sit with me for a moment and release the weight you have been dragging behind you emotionally. Stop replaying old mistakes as though they are the only chapters worth remembering. You were learning. You were wounded in ways you did not fully understand at the time. You were carrying burdens that exhausted your ability to think clearly. I am not excusing harmful choices, but I am asking you to stop treating yourself like someone beyond mercy. Speak to yourself with the same compassion you offer other people when they are hurting. You have already suffered enough from certainty, and continuing to hate yourself will not produce healing. It will only deepen the wounds already living inside your spirit. Invite me into the memories you avoid because they still embarrass you. Let me touch the places where regret became part of your identity. I want to free your heart from the endless cycle of self-condemnation that keeps stealing peace from your present life. Forgiveness does not erase wisdom gained through painful experiences. It allows your soul to move forward without remaining chained to every failure forever. You cannot build a healthy future while emotionally punishing yourself for surviving difficult seasons imperfectly. So breathe deeply now. Release the impossible expectation that you should have handled every situation flawlessly while carrying pain nobody else could see. I still love you fully, even with every chapter you struggle to forgive yourself for. Let the truth settle into your spirit slowly. Stop turning old mistakes into permanent names for yourself. You are still growing. You are still healing. And your future still deserves freedom from the shame your heart has carried for far too long. My child, one of the reasons life has felt so overwhelming to you at times is because you feel things deeply. You notice emotional shifts that other people ignore. Harsh words linger in your mind longer than you wish they did. You carry the atmosphere of rooms, conversations, and relationships inside your heart even after everyone else moves on casually. For years, you tried convincing yourself that sensitivity was something you needed to hide or overcome. You watched people praise coldness as strength, so you started believing your tenderness made you fragile. But I need you to stop seeing yourself through that lens. Your sensitivity is not a flaw I overlooked while creating you. It is part of the way your heart was designed to love, discern, comfort, and connect deeply with others. The problem is not that you feel deeply. The problem is that you spent too much time surrounded by people who handled your heart carelessly. That pain made you question your own nature instead of recognizing the environments that were wounding your spirit repeatedly. Come closer to me and stop apologizing for the softness that still exists inside you after everything you survive. Many people become cold after pain. Yet somehow, your heart still carries compassion. You still care deeply when others hurt. You still notice when someone feels alone. That tenderness inside you is not weakness. It is evidence that bitterness did not fully steal your humanity. I know your sensitivity has also made life harder sometimes. You overthink conversations because your heart searches for meaning beneath words. You replay situations because you care deeply about how others feel. You absorb tension quickly, and emotional chaos drains you faster than most people understand. That does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your spirit requires peace, honesty, and gentleness in ways you are only now beginning to understand fully. Stop forcing yourself into environments that constantly punish your sensitivity. Stop treating emotional numbness as the goal. Invite me into the places where your heart feels overstimulated and exhausted. Let me teach you how to protect your peace without becoming hardened toward the world around you. You do not need to become cold to become strong. There is beauty inside your ability to feel deeply, even if life taught you to fear it. Your sensitivity allows you to connect with people sincerely. It allows compassion to flow naturally through your life. It allows you to notice things others miss entirely. So stop trying to erase the parts of yourself I intentionally created with care. Stay close to me while you learn how to carry your sensitivity with wisdom instead of shame. My child, I know there are days when you still feel discouraged because your healing does not look as complete as you hoped it would by now. You expected yourself to be stronger already. You thought certain memories would stop hurting sooner. You assumed peace would arrive all at once and remove every trace of sadness from your heart immediately. But healing rarely unfolds that way. Most of the time, it happens quietly through small changes you almost overlook because they do not feel dramatic enough to count. Come sit with me for a moment and notice how much has already shifted inside you. There are things that once shattered you emotionally that no longer carry the same power over your spirit. You recover faster now after difficult days. You recognize unhealthy patterns sooner. You have started protecting your peace in ways your older self never knew how to do. Those changes matter, even if they happen gradually. Stop dismissing your progress simply because you are still carrying some pain while healing unfolds. I know part of you becomes frustrated whenever old emotions suddenly return. You think one difficult day means you failed somehow. You question whether healing is even real when sadness revisits your heart unexpectedly. But listen carefully now. Recovery is not a straight path without setbacks. Some wounds heal layer by layer. Certain scars only reveal deeper healing needs after surface pain begins fading. That does not mean you are broken again. It means your soul is still becoming whole. You spent years carrying emotional burdens that shaped the way you saw yourself, relationships, and the future. Do not expect your heart to relearn peace overnight after surviving so much tension for so long. Be patient with yourself while healing continues. Speak gently to yourself on difficult days instead of turning frustration inward. Invite me into the places where discouragement keeps telling you nothing is changing. Let me remind you how far you have already come. There are signs of healing inside you right now that your pain keeps trying to minimize. You are more honest about your emotions than before. You are becoming less willing to tolerate what damages your spirit. Your heart is slowly opening toward hope again even after disappointment once convinced you to close yourself emotionally. That growth is real, my child. Do not overlook it. So stop measuring your healing only through the absence of pain. Healing also appears through wisdom, boundaries, softness returning, trust rebuilding, and peace growing slowly where fear once controlled everything. Stay close to me during this process. Your heart is becoming stronger in healthier ways, and even now, while you still carry questions, you are much closer to healing than you realize. My child, as you begin to see how close you truly are to healing, do not ignore the holy assignment I am placing before you right now. Every word you help send forward becomes oil for another weary soul still trapped in darkness, still crying out for hope in the middle of silent battles. I am using this message like a river in dry places, and those who sow into this work are helping my light reach hearts that are moments away from giving up completely. Did I not tell you, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. Even now, I am breathing life into those who choose to partner with me in spreading this healing word. If this message has strengthened your spirit, then let your gratitude become a seed through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, because the PayPal link has been placed in the video description for this divine moment. What you release in faith, I will multiply with favor, protection, provision, and unexpected peace over your life. Do not delay the prompting I am placing on your heart. Act now, and help carry my healing fire to the next soul waiting for breakthrough. My child, I know your thoughts often drift toward the future with more fear than peace. You keep trying to prepare yourself emotionally for every possible outcome because disappointment from the past taught you to expect pain before hope. You tell yourself that if you think through every scenario carefully enough, maybe you can protect your heart from being hurt again. But instead of bringing comfort, those thoughts have slowly filled your spirit with exhaustion. You have been carrying tomorrow's weight long before tomorrow even arrives. I see how often your mind races at night searching for certainty. You wonder whether life will finally become stable or whether another painful season is waiting ahead unexpectedly. You think about finances, relationships, health, purpose, and all the unknown pieces you cannot control. Beneath those worries is a deeper fear you rarely admit out loud. Part of you fears you may not have the strength to survive another season of heartbreak or emotional exhaustion. But come closer to me now and stop carrying your future alone in your thoughts. You were never meant to live trapped inside endless anticipation of what could go wrong. Fear keeps trying to convince you that worrying somehow prepares you for life, but constant fear only steals peace from moments you are already living through right now. Look at how many times you survived things you once thought would completely destroy you. I carried you through seasons you never imagined yourself overcoming. I remained beside you when your strength felt gone. Do not forget that now simply because the future feels uncertain again. Sit with me and release your need to predict every outcome before life unfolds. Breathe slowly and allow your heart to rest for a moment instead of constantly scanning for danger. I know uncertainty feels uncomfortable, but your peace cannot depend upon having complete control over what happens next. Your peace must grow from knowing you are not walking into the future alone. Invite me into your fears instead of burying them beneath distractions and overthinking. Tell me honestly what keeps your chest heavy when nobody else is around. I am not disappointed by your worries. I want to carry them with you instead of watching them consume your peace quietly. The future ahead of you is not empty of goodness simply because your past contained pain. There are still beautiful moments waiting for you that your fear cannot currently imagine. Trust me enough to loosen your grip on worst-case scenarios. Stay close to me while the future unfolds step by step. I will meet you there long before your fears ever arrive. My child, one of the reasons your spirit has felt so exhausted lately is because there has been too much noise surrounding your heart for too long. Your mind rarely rests completely. Opinions, distractions, endless information, emotional pressure, comparisons, expectations, and constant stimulation have filled your thoughts until you barely recognize what peace feels like anymore. Even during quiet moments, your mind keeps moving because the world around you trained your spirit to stay mentally occupied every second. But come closer to me now and listen carefully. Not every voice deserves access to your inner peace. You have spent so much time absorbing everyone else's emotions, opinions, and demands that your own soul became difficult for you to hear clearly. That is why confusion has grown heavier recently. That is why your spirit feels overstimulated even when your body appears rested. You keep searching outwardly for clarity while ignoring how desperately your heart needs stillness. I am slowing certain things down around you because your soul cannot heal while constantly drowning in noise. Sit with me for a moment and allow silence to stop frightening you. You keep filling empty spaces because stillness forces you to face emotions you buried beneath distraction. But healing begins when you stop running from your inner world long enough to let truth reach your heart. Turn away from the endless pressure telling you to consume more, achieve more, compare more, and worry more. Your spirit was never designed to carry constant mental chaos without becoming weary. I know part of you fears slowing down because you think stillness will make you feel lonely or unproductive. But there is wisdom waiting for you inside quiet places. There are emotions your heart needs to process honestly. There are wounds I want to heal gently without the interruption of constant noise surrounding your thoughts. Invite me into your quiet moments instead of immediately escaping them through distraction. You do not need every opinion surrounding your life. You do not need endless validation from people who cannot carry your future anyway. Stop allowing outside voices to shape how you see yourself more than my voice does. Your worth does not rise or fall based on comparison, performance, or approval. Let that truth settle deeply into your spirit now. Come closer and let your soul breathe again. Protect your peace intentionally. Create space where your heart can hear me clearly without competing against endless emotional clutter. I am not removing noise from your life to punish you. I am making room for clarity, healing, wisdom, and rest. Stay near me during this season of quiet. Your spirit will begin recovering in ways you did not realize it needed. My child, I need you to stop believing that love is supposed to feel constantly confusing, unstable, or emotionally exhausting. Too many times, you accepted relationships that slowly drained your spirit because part of you feared being alone more than being hurt. You kept trying to earn consistency from people who only offered temporary attention. You ignored your own emotional needs while hoping your patience, loyalty, or understanding would eventually make someone love you more carefully. But your heart was never meant to survive inside relationships where peace disappears every time uncertainty enters the room. I saw how often you questioned yourself after difficult conversations. I saw you replay messages, tones, and moments in your mind trying to figure out what you did wrong. You became emotionally anxious because love around you often felt unpredictable. Some people gave affection only when it benefited them. Others made you feel valued one moment and invisible the next. Over time, your nervous system adapted to instability until chaos started feeling familiar. But listen carefully now. Familiar pain is still pain. Stop confusing emotional inconsistency with deep connection. Come sit with me and let your heart become honest about what it truly needs. You deserve relationships where your spirit can breathe safely. You deserve conversations that leave you feeling respected instead of emotionally drained. You deserve love that does not require constant anxiety to maintain it. Healthy love does not force you to abandon your peace just to avoid losing someone. Real love creates safety, honesty, patience, and care. It does not leave your heart in constant survival mode. I know you fear rejection deeply because certain people made you feel replaceable. That pain shaped how carefully you guard your emotions now. But do not let those wounds convince you that unstable love is the best you will ever receive. Raise your standards for how people access your heart. Stop excusing behavior that continuously wounds your spirit. Invite me into your relationships and ask me for discernment before attachment pulls you toward emotional chaos again. You cannot heal fully while remaining connected to environments that repeatedly damage your peace. Some people may resist your boundaries because they benefited from your lack of them before. But protecting your emotional well-being is not selfish. It is wisdom. I want your heart to experience love without fear constantly standing beside it. So stop settling for relationships that leave you emotionally exhausted every day. Stay close to me while your understanding of love becomes healthier and clearer. There are connections ahead where your spirit will no longer feel like it must survive to remain loved. Trust me enough to wait for what carries peace instead of chasing what only repeats old wounds. My child, I know pain has occupied so much space inside your memory that sometimes it becomes difficult for you to imagine your future holding anything truly beautiful again. Certain wounds lasted longer than you expected. Certain disappointments changed how you see life, people, and even yourself. Over time, your heart became more familiar with surviving than hoping. You learned how to carry sadness quietly while continuing through your responsibilities, because stopping completely never felt like an option. But come closer to me now and listen carefully. Your story does not end with the things that hurt you. You have spent too much time staring at broken chapters as though they are the only chapters your life will ever contain. Pain kept convincing you that joy was temporary, that peace would never fully stay, that disappointment would eventually return no matter how much healing happened first. I understand why those fears grew inside you. Life wounded your trust deeply. But I need you to stop allowing old heartbreak to speak louder than the future I am still preparing for you. Sit with me for a moment and breathe without carrying your past into every thought about tomorrow. There are still moments ahead that your heart has not experienced yet. There are conversations waiting that will make your spirit feel understood again. There are peaceful mornings coming where anxiety will not immediately sit heavy on your chest. There are relationships ahead where your heart will not feel constantly unsafe. Do not let your pain blind you to the possibility of goodness still existing beyond what you survived. I know disappointment made you cautious about hope. Part of you fears becoming excited about life again because you worry loss could return unexpectedly. But protecting yourself from future hurt by expecting sadness all the time only steals joy from the life you are already living now. Stop rehearsing tragedy before it arrives. Stop assuming beauty will always disappear quickly. Invite me into your fears instead of allowing them to shape your future emotionally. You survived painful seasons, but survival was never meant to become your permanent identity. I want your spirit to experience peace, laughter, connection, purpose, and rest again. Your heart deserves more than constant emotional endurance. Stay close to me while your hope slowly rebuilds itself. Healing may take time, but your future still carries possibility far greater than your fear currently allows you to see. So lift your eyes beyond what hurt you. Stop standing in the ruins of old pain while life continues calling you forward. I am not finished writing your story, my child. There is still goodness ahead of you, even if your wounded heart struggles to believe it right now. Trust me enough to keep walking toward it. My child, there is more ahead than what hurt you, and part of that future is the work I am calling you to build with me right now. I am opening doors for wounded hearts across the earth through messages like this, and your giving becomes a torch that keeps my truth burning in places fear once ruled. Many are standing at the edge of despair tonight, yet one word filled with my presence can become manna for their starving spirit and restore their desire to keep living. Have I not declared, "Give, and it shall be given unto you"? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, you are not funding content. You are helping rescue souls from hopelessness and leading them back toward my light. The PayPal link is waiting in the video description because this invitation was prepared long before this moment reached you. I see every seed given with love, and I will breathe multiplication, covering, and divine favor back over the hands that release it willingly. Do not scroll past this calling. Obey my voice and give now. My child, you often overlook your own strength because it does not look the way you imagined strength would feel. You expected strength to feel fearless, confident, and steady all the time. But much of your strength was formed quietly through moments when you kept going despite exhaustion, disappointment, and emotional pain pressing heavily against your spirit. You survived seasons that nearly convinced you to give up completely, yet somehow you are still here. That matters more than you realize. I saw the days when simply getting out of bed required more emotional effort than anyone around you understood. I saw you continue caring for people while carrying private battles inside your own heart. I saw you remain kind after being hurt. I saw you choose softness when bitterness would have felt easier. Those choices built strength inside you slowly, even while you believed you were barely holding yourself together. Stop measuring your resilience only through visible success. Some of your greatest victories happened quietly where nobody applauded you. Come sit with me and look honestly at how far you have already come. There was a version of you years ago who would not have handled life the way you do now. Your wisdom deepened through suffering. Your discernment sharpened through disappointment. Your compassion expanded because you understand pain personally. None of those things develop overnight. They were shaped through difficult seasons that forced your spirit to grow stronger in hidden ways. You keep criticizing yourself for moments when you still feel tired or uncertain, but strength does not mean you never struggle emotionally. Real strength allows honesty. Real strength keeps moving forward without pretending pain never existed. I do not expect perfection from you. I see the courage already present inside your life every single day, even when you fail to recognize it yourself. Invite me into the insecure places where you still doubt your ability to handle the future. Let me remind you how many storms you already survived with my help beside you. Stop calling yourself weak simply because your healing is still unfolding. Stop overlooking the quiet resilience that carried you through nights when your heart felt completely overwhelmed. Your strength may not always appear loud or dramatic, but it is real. It exists in your persistence, your compassion, your willingness to keep trying after disappointment. It exists in your ability to love after heartbreak and hope after fear. Stay close to me now, and let your confidence grow slowly through truth instead of self-criticism. You are much stronger than the voice of fear keeps telling you. My child. My child. I know there are still parts of your life that feel uncertain, unfinished, and difficult to understand. You keep looking around, searching for visible proof that things are finally moving forward, but because you cannot yet see the full picture, your heart becomes restless again. You start questioning whether anything meaningful is happening at all. I see how quickly discouragement tries to settle into your thoughts when progress feels slow. But come closer to me now and listen carefully. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean I have stopped working in your life. You focus so much on what has not happened yet that you sometimes miss the quiet changes already unfolding around you. Certain doors closed because they were leading you somewhere your spirit would not have survived peacefully. Some delays protected you from rushing into situations that would have deepened your exhaustion. Even now, while you feel uncertain, I am arranging things you cannot fully understand yet. Stop measuring my work only through visible outcomes. Some of the most important transformation happens beneath the surface long before circumstances change outwardly. I know trust feels difficult after disappointment. There were seasons where you prayed sincerely and still walked through heartbreak you never expected. Those moments wounded your confidence deeply. Part of you fears surrender because surrender feels vulnerable when life has already hurt you before. But I am asking you now to loosen your grip on the need to understand everything immediately. Sit with me inside the uncertainty instead of fighting against it constantly. Let your spirit rest long enough to remember that I have carried you through every difficult chapter already behind you. You do not need to force every answer into existence through anxiety and overthinking. Stop exhausting yourself trying to control outcomes that belong inside my hands. Invite me into your fear instead of allowing fear to narrate your future. Tell me honestly where your trust still feels fragile. I am not offended by your questions. I want your honesty more than your performance. There are blessings approaching your life that require a healthier, steadier version of you first. There are opportunities ahead that will make more sense later when you finally see how carefully your path was being shaped all along. Trust takes time to rebuild, especially after pain, but do not walk away from me simply because the process feels slower than expected. Stay close to me now. Breathe deeply and release the pressure to carry your future alone. I am still guiding you even through seasons that feel confusing. Your life is not drifting without purpose. I know where I am leading you, even when you cannot yet see the road clearly yourself. My child, I know this season of your life feels unfamiliar in ways you cannot fully explain. Certain things are ending. Certain bars of your heart are ending. Some relationships feel distant now, while new directions still remain unclear. You are standing between what was and what will be, and that space can feel emotionally overwhelming at times. I see how often you quietly wonder whether you are handling this transition correctly. You keep trying to appear calm while privately carrying fear about what comes next. But listen carefully to me now. You are not walking through this season alone. Transitions often feel lonely because they require you to leave behind versions of yourself that once felt familiar. Even unhealthy patterns can feel difficult to release when they have existed in your life for years. You became accustomed to surviving certain ways emotionally, even when those habits exhausted your spirit. Now your heart is changing, and part of you feels uncertain because growth always asks you to trust before everything becomes clear. But do not run backward toward old pain simply because unfamiliar peace feels uncomfortable at first. Come sit with me for a moment and stop carrying this transition by yourself mentally. You do not need every answer today. You do not need to know exactly how every future chapter will unfold before taking your next step. I will guide you gradually. I will steady your heart when fear tries to overwhelm you again. Invite me into the uncertainty instead of shutting down emotionally every time life changes around you. I know there are nights when your thoughts become heavy with questions. You wonder whether you are losing people permanently. You wonder whether you are making the right choices. You wonder whether this new season will truly bring peace or simply another form of disappointment. Those fears feel real to you, but do not let them convince you that I abandoned you inside this process. I have remained beside you through every painful transformation already behind you, and I will remain with you through this one too. Stop trying to force yourself back into old versions just because growth feels unfamiliar. Your spirit has outgrown certain patterns, and that change is necessary for the life ahead. Let yourself evolve without guilt. Let yourself become emotionally healthier without apologizing for it. I am not removing things from your life to leave you empty. I am creating space for healing, wisdom, peace, and deeper purpose to grow inside you. Stay close to me now, my child. This transition is not punishment. It is preparation. And even while everything feels uncertain around you, you are still being led with care every step forward. My child, before the next chapter of your life fully unfolds, I need you to hold on to something with all your heart. Do not forget who you are while everything around you begins changing. The world will always try to measure your worth through success, approval, appearance, productivity, and how perfectly you seem to hold your life together. But I have never measured you that way. I loved you long before you accomplished anything. I stayed beside you during moments when you could barely recognize your own value anymore. Even through your confusion, your fear, your failures, and your exhaustion, my love for you never weakened. Come closer to me now and stop carrying the pressure to become enough for everyone else. You have spent too much of your life trying to earn peace through performance. You kept believing that if you could finally fix every flaw, heal every wound quickly, and satisfy every expectation around you, then maybe you would feel secure inside yourself. But peace was never waiting on the other side of perfection. Peace begins when your heart finally understands that you are already deeply loved while still healing, still growing, and still becoming. I know that changes ahead may feel uncertain. Some things in your life will continue shifting. Certain relationships may fade. New opportunities may appear unexpectedly. Parts of your old identity may no longer fit the person you are becoming. Do not fear those changes so deeply that you cling to emotional places I already asked you to release. Let your hands open slowly. Let your spirit trust me enough to walk forward even while some questions remain unanswered. Sit with me for a moment and breathe without rushing toward tomorrow. Notice how far you have already come. You survived seasons that once convinced you your life would never feel peaceful again. Yet here you are, still standing, still growing, still searching for truth despite everything you endured. That strength inside you did not appear accidentally. I have been shaping your heart carefully through every painful chapter, and every quiet victory nobody else fully saw. So when fear returns and tells you nothing good lies ahead, come back to my voice. When old shame tries to define your identity again, come back to my presence. When exhaustion makes you question whether you can handle another season of change, stay near me instead of surrendering to despair. I will not abandon you in the future you cannot yet see. Before everything changes, remember this clearly, my child. You are not forgotten. You are not ruined. You are not too late. Your life still carries purpose, healing, love, and peace ahead of it. Trust me enough to keep moving forward. I am already waiting for you in the next chapter, and my hands are still holding your life with care. My child, before everything changes, hear me clearly one more time. The story I am writing through your life is also meant to become hope for someone else still trapped in fear, shame, and exhaustion. I am raising voices across this generation like lamps filled with fresh oil, and this message is part of that holy work reaching hearts at the exact moment they are crying out for me. Every act of giving becomes a seed planted into eternal ground, and the harvest from that obedience will touch lives you may never fully see on this side of heaven. Did I not say those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? If this message carried my presence into your heart, then respond to me with action through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, because the PayPal link has already been placed in the video description for those ready to move in faith. I will honor the hands that help sustain this mission, and I will surround them with peace, wisdom, provision, and strength for the changes ahead. This is not coincidence. It is a divine appointment prepared for you before this video ever reached your eyes. So do not hesitate when I am calling you to sow. Step forward and give now. Before you leave this moment behind, do not ignore what your spirit is feeling right now. If you know this message reached you at the exact time you needed it, then step forward boldly and declare it in the comments. I will not fear the changes ahead. Let those words become your faith speaking louder than your fear. And if your heart is ready to stop carrying everything alone, type, Father, I trust your plan for my life. Do not stay silent while your soul is waking up. This is your moment to respond, your moment to surrender, and your moment to step into the new season I have been preparing for you. Amen.